The Biden administration's new sanctions on Russia are getting personal. We'll tell you how President Putin's family is impacted. The city of Norman has a new mayor after a close runoff election, and a new Campus Corner hotel shares its vision for football season. This is OU Nightly. Hello, thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Jessie Klinger.
And I'm Adam Dickinson. Tonight we begin with the latest development in the Russia-Ukraine war. The US, the G7 and the European Union have announced further economic sanctions to add more pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin. CNN's Karen Kafer has the latest from Washington.
Amid more startling images from Ukraine,
responsible nations have to come together to hold these perpetrators accountable.
U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland says the Justice Department is helping to collect evidence for possible Russian war crimes prosecution.
The United States is, at the request of the Ukrainian prosecutor, assisting in the collection of information with respect to the atrocities that took place.
Garland announced a number of U.S. actions, including charges against a Russian oligarch for sanctions violations and the disruption of a botnet controlled by Russia's military intelligence agency. This as the White House joined European allies in imposing new economic sanctions on Russian financial institutions and on Russian President Vladimir Putin's two daughters. But at a NATO summit in Brussels, an acknowledgement the conflict could last months, even years.
We have seen no indication that President Putin has changed his ambition to control the whole of Ukraine. But at the same time, we have to be realistic and realize that this may last for a long time.
On Capitol Hill, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned of the economic toll of a long Russia-Ukraine war, with its disruption of the global food and energy markets. The EU took its first steps towards sanctioning Russia's energy market this week with a proposal to ban coal imports. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafer.
Today, the mayor of the city of Mariupol has announced the civilian death count has reached 5,000.
And here back at home, Larry Heikkila has knocked out incumbent Mayor Bria Clark in the Norman mayoral election. The former safety manager received 53% of the votes. One of Heikkila's biggest platforms was strengthening the police and fire departments. He wants to increase police and fire salaries to expand services and improve for call response times. Heikkila also took a firm stance on the homelessness budget, saying he does not want money to go towards building homeless shelters. Heikkila will be sworn into office on July 5th.
Norman residents voiced their thoughts on the result of the election. There are many mixed reactions when the results were announced last night, with supporters of both candidates making their opinions known. Heikkila supporters were very excited about the results and said that with Clark out of office, the city will finally be able to move forward.
I think it'll affect the city in only one way. We're going to grow by leaps and bounds. Norman's always been a big growing town, and we have been held back by our former mayor. And now that she is no longer here, we're ready to move on, upward and onward.
Supporters of Bria Clark were ready to show their aggression towards the election, but did not want to comment on camera. One Clark supporter said they were in disbelief that the majority of Norman residents would vote against her and will soon realise that they made a mistake.
The Biden administration continues to add sanctions on Russia, but this time they're getting personal. Romelo Woodfork has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
Thank you, Jessie. United States President Joe Biden says major war crimes are being discovered as Russian forces retreat from areas surrounding Kiev. The Biden administration is increasing sanctions, but this time they're getting personal. Following horrific images from the Ukrainian city of Bucha, the U.S. increased sanctions on Russian institutions and elites, including Russian President Vladimir Putin's daughters. President Biden says the hope is to further isolate Russia's economy and stack the pain for Putin. Biden says that Putin is a war criminal and is calling for a trial to hold Moscow responsible. Back home, Oklahoma U.S. Senator James Lankford says the rise in gas prices is not due to the war in Ukraine, but Biden's policies.
This is not a result of Putin's war. This is a result of Biden policies, and everyone knows it.
Senator Lankford said the Biden administration is not doing enough to fix the rising gas prices throughout the country. He claims there is a way to produce more American energy, but the administration is unwilling to do it. The investigation into the January 6th insurrection continues virtually, with Ivanka Trump, former President Donald Trump's daughter and senior advisor. Ivanka voluntarily met with the investigative committee Tuesday. Two sources close to the interview told CNN that Ivanka was interviewed close to 8 hours. The chair of the committee, Democrat Benny Thompson, was asked if the former president's daughter was citing the Fifth Amendment or claiming executive privilege. She says not to her knowledge. In other news, Milwaukee, Wisconsin has elected its first black mayor, 35-year-old Cavular Johnson. He is also the city's first millennial mayor. Jessie, Adam, back to you.
Thanks, Romelo. Now, Adam, spring is storm season, especially here in Oklahoma. We have some severe weather coming next week, and so meteorologists across the country are taking to social media to raise awareness on how to stay prepared.
Today is National Safe Place Selfie Day. OU Nightly's Colin Mertz joins us. Colin, how can we stay safe?
Well, for the current threats we have right now the big threats we have are fires. See, we have some active fires going on across the state. We get a little hot spot up here in Osage County. You can even see the smoke in Nowata County. And then we have fires again popping up around outside of Ardmore. And then we've just learned that the Beaver County fire is now 15% contained. So for the time being, our threats are going to be severe fire weather. Now, we can see across most of the state here, we have fire weather warnings. So as you're outside doing things, you need to keep that in mind. Be conscious of what you're doing with campfires, grilling, etc. But for the rest of the story for headlines, we have fire weather and then possibility of storms next week with temperature changes. Back to y'all.
Thanks, Colin. Parents' Weekend is about to get a lot more convenient with a new place to stay right on Campus Corner. OU Nightly's Abbi Bennett has more.
The tall building standing on University Avenue excites Norman residents and OU students as a new change of scenery arises. The Noun Hotel is set to open in August, but some Norman residents are concerned.
The Noun Hotel, we have the best stormwater solution in the whole city.
Lambert is excited about the new project, but isn't giving many details about the building. However, he is excited about the start of football season and does have a vision.
But then on game day, boom, it becomes OU centric. We have different, like the elevator goes crimson, the lighting goes crimson, this big, huge white wall that is normally white goes to crimson. We have all these great, wonderful, the schooner out front that is going to be out there, the canopy goes to crimson. It's going to be just a super exciting time for game time.
The Noun will have 2 bars and a signature restaurant. Future guests can start to reserve rooms at the end of this month. Abbi Bennett, OU Nightly.
For those who are interested in more information on making a reservation, you can visit nounhotel.com.
A local resale store is teaming up with OU athletes to give back to the community.
We'll tell you how they're hoping to make a positive impact coming up. Plus, analysis of U.S. Department of Energy data reveals which states are experiencing increases in power outages. That and more coming up in Earth Report.
A local vintage resale store is giving back to the OU community. The reseller is now working with OU athletes to help give back. OU Nightly's Reece Wetzel sat with the store owner to discuss their plan.
Vault 405, a local streetwear, vintage, and sneaker store. The store sits on Boyd and Jenkins right on campus. The building is more than just a storefront, as owners Anakin Lozano and Bryce Olvera provide a little soul to the Norman community.
Community stuff's awesome, interacting with people and trying to help as much as possible. It's always something we've kind of strive to do. So
the shop is now reaching out to help athletes who are struggling financially. Growing up in a low-income background, the owners know the struggles athletic students face.
I know some athletes might not have it as well off as others, so we thought it would be a good idea to kind of incorporate our business with helping actual athletes, because we were both athletes at one point too.
As a full-time athlete, there's little time for a job, making it hard to provide support while in school.
It's pretty tough. I mean, we're all present. We know inflation's like happening, so you know the dollar's not what it is. So we understand how that works for them.
The plan for Vault 405 sponsorship is to provide a percentage of sales to the athlete.
2 times a month, and it's based kind of like on commission sales. However many people come in, they get like a percentage of what we sell throughout that week.
Vault 405 is aiming to bring in 2 players a month to sponsor, allowing enough students to benefit. The first athlete for Vault 405 is yet to be named, but Olvera gave us a hint.
Girls OU basketball is what we'll share for now.
The first sponsorship week is setting to kick off end of April or early May. Reporting from Norman, Oklahoma, Reece Wetzel, OU Nightly.
For more information on Vault 405, be sure to check out their Instagram at 405Vault405.
The number of power outages are increasing nationwide. Bailey Coyle joins us with why in Earth Report.
Yes, over the past 2 decades, power outages from severe weather have doubled. U.S. Department of Energy data shows 40 states are experiencing longer outages, and those most impacted are in regions seeing more extreme weather. The warmer climate is making more destructive storms that are crippling large segments of the nation's aging electrical grid. As upgrades are made to the transmission lines and equipment, power grid maintenance expenses are skyrocketing, causing customers who experience more frequent and longer outages to pay more for electricity. And earlier this week, a fire department in a suburb of Dallas carried out 3 swift water rescues during a flash flood. 4 people in total were brought to safety in McKinney, Texas. The people were rescued after their vehicles were swept away by flash flood waters. There were no injuries reported. And over in Germany, the government announced a major package of reforms, known as the Easter Package. The goal of the reforms are to boost the protection of renewable power and become independent of energy imports from hostile nations such as Russia. The 600-page Easter Package aims to free up new land for power production, speed up permit procedures, and increase wind and solar additions to achieve a nearly 100% renewable power by 2035. The Economy Ministry is expected to introduce a second package of reforms by the summer. And Jessie, Adam, Boston plans to replace its 700 school buses with electric vehicles by 2030. The plan will start this next school year with 20 buses.
Thanks, Bailey. The semester might be ending soon, but there's no rest for the OU Food Pantry.
Find out how the team is already gearing up for fall semester next on OU Nightly.
And Colin, I heard there's a high risk for fire weather.
Absolutely. If you're doing anything outdoors, you're going to want to keep your eyes peeled. We got more on fire weather coming up. Good afternoon, Norman. I hope you're having a great day. Probably having a pretty windy day. Actually, looking out at the sky cam right now, we see pretty clear skies, but those temperatures edging closer and closer to 70, not quite getting there though. Winds 21 out of the west, and look at that low dew point, 16. So this is conditions that we see echoed across the state. Mid to high 60s, even getting down to 71 in Idabel, but those temperatures are accompanied with winds. We have high winds in the Panhandle, and they're just sweeping across our state. That combined with these low dew points, -3 in Guyman. What a low dew point. So combining these 3 factors, we see fire weather, and that's accompanied by the fact that these areas of the state haven't gotten as much rain as us recently here in Norman. So this is the Storm Prediction Center's weather outlook for today. Of course, the highest risk, the extreme risk being in the Panhandle here. And then looking at tomorrow, we see that elevated or that critical risk covering pretty much half of the state here. So if we include the fire conditions with high risk, we see it does indeed cover half or the entire state. This is Thursday. And then looking again into Friday, again, these conditions all across the state. So if you're going to be doing anything outdoors, please be careful, make Smokey the Bear proud, and just keep an eye on stuff as you're participating outdoors. Now, if we look at the radar forecast for the next upcoming days, we have a lot of clear high pressure going to keep us dry until we see this low pressure push through Sunday, and that's going to gin up the possibility for some storms to pop up. And then we can see over off in the distance, that's going to be our next weather maker, so we're going to keep our eye on that. But with the rest of what we have today, we have, for the next few days, we're going to have the weekend warm-up and then fire weather continuing. Back to y'all.
Thanks, Colin. The OU Food Pantry is gearing up for next semester. The pantry hosted an ice cream social and tabled on the South Oval today ahead of their general team applications opening tomorrow, with plenty of prizes and hopes for students to join their growing team.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage anybody to join the pantry. It doesn't matter what major you are or if you have a lot of experience. We have different roles all throughout our team where you can help pack orders, you can help reach out to people on campus, and make connections with other organizations.
The pantry is open Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. located at 113 Elm Street.
And the Sooners baseball team were in action yesterday against Oral Roberts University.
Abbi Bennett joins us. Abbi, I heard they picked up another win ahead of the Bedlam series this weekend.
Yeah, Jessie, they definitely did, and I will tell you all the details coming up. Plus, softball is hoping to keep a clean record after their matchup tonight. Stick around. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Abbi Bennett, and let's talk sports. The OKC Dodgers opened up their season series against the Albuquerque Isotopes last night. Jason Martin hit a walk-off homer, and Andy Burns collected a game-high 3 hits. The final score was 3-2, and they will continue the series with the Isotopes tonight at 7:05 p.m. And sticking on the mound, OU baseball came out on top last night against Oral Roberts 8-2. Peyton Graham, Blake Robertson, and Tanner Treadaway had an outstanding game helping lead the Sooners to victory. The triple threat combined for 8 hits, 7 runs scored, and 5 RBIs. Next up, the Sooners will travel to Stilley this weekend for the Bedlam Big 12 Series. And after rain postponed Monday's second round at Calusa, the Sooners were able to fight through harsh conditions on Tuesday. As a team, the Sooners led the field on par 3s and ended the day in 4th place. 4 Sooners finished inside the top 20, including Patrick Welch, who added his 5th top 20 finish of the season. And the record-perfect softball team returns to the Diamond tonight at 6 p.m. to face Tulsa. After 32 games played, the Sooners lead the nation with 83 home runs and are batting .383. They've also won by run rule in 26 of their last 32 games. And although the numbers are looking pretty, Coach Gasso still sees some flaws in her defense.
Looking back at it, we have about a third of those throwing errors from the outfield, majority from the infield. So we're just going to be working more on that. And I am very determined to make sure this is fixed the best I can.
And switching to men's gymnastics, freshman Fuzzy Bennis notched his 3rd CGA Rookie of the Week. Bennis received this honor after his performance at the MPSF Championship on Saturday, where he posted a career high of 84.7 to take 2nd in the all-around. The Sooners have a week off before they host the NCAA qualifier on April 15th. And last night, Thunder struck the Trailblazers with a 98-94 dub. Jalen Horde had a career high of 24 points and 21 rebounds. Heading into the 4th quarter, the Blazers led 82-67, but OKC held them to 12 points on 5 for 19 shooting in the final 12 minutes. Tonight, OKC will travel to face the Utah Jazz at 8 p.m. And check this out. Last night during a break in the Thunder game, a fan drained a half-court shot. Not only did the fan love having his moment to shine, but his wallet also loved the fact that he got to go home with $20,000. Now, Jessie and Adam, this is just definitely something you do not see every single day, but I also can't say my wallet has ever seen that much money either. Adam, Jessie, back to you.
Thanks, Abbi. A life-saving birthday wish came early for one Cincinnati Bengals fan.
Find out why Superman Sammy Jones has a reason to celebrate turning 4 coming up.
I'm Snow Forth at the OU Nightly Update Desk. The police involved in the death of Amir Locke will not face criminal charges. The 22-year-old was fatally shot by Minneapolis police during a no-knock warrant service in early February. Prosecutors say after a thorough review of the case, there was insufficient admissible evidence to file criminal charges. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Snow. And a boy whose only birthday wish was a healthy heart got his present early this week.
Bengals fan Superman Sammy Jones was born with the left side of his heart not working and needed a transplant to be able to live a healthy and happy life.
With support from the AFC champion, Sammy had his 14-hour surgery completed earlier this week.
And just in time for his 4th birthday too.
And Colin Mertz joins us one last time. Colin, can we expect more beautiful days like this?
Absolutely, and it's going to happen soon. We see actually 75 degrees on Saturday, 82 on Sunday before we have the storms possibly roll through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday into next week. But as you mentioned earlier, it is Safe Place Selfie today. So take a selfie with your phone at your safe place for your storm shelter so you know where to go in the event of emergency. But for the rest of the week, we're going to keep looking at some sunny skies until storms later.
Thanks, Colin. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in.
And like the sunny skies, OU Nightly will be back tomorrow and Friday. Be sure to watch live at 4:30.
Cheers and good night.